Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What kind of slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm gonna burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you for Bettor Off Dead Friday, August 15th. And yeah, we are definitely considering ending it all here after 0-2 yesterday. I thought both of my plays were solid. I thought there was some professional money backing those up. Actually, yesterday, if you listened to some of the professional bettors, I thought that they were kind of in alignment with me. At least some of the guys I was listening to, it seemed like that was the case. So, unfortunately, Philadelphia did not get there. They were winning the game 2-1. We needed them to win by multiple runs, and then their bullpen was the one that blew it. As somehow Brad Lord for Washington went like 7 innings in the game or something and allowed almost nothing to Philadelphia. It makes no sense at all. Philadelphia's bullpen lost, I believe, in the 8th inning. It's just terrible, man. So that was a loss. They lost outright. And then Arizona, Colorado didn't get there, even though I believe we saw 18 hits in that game, which you get 18 hits, there's a decent chance you're going to get 12 runs in that game. And it did not happen. We got 10 runs as Colorado did not score in the game. Arizona definitely held up their end of the bargain. Arizona was winning the game like 7-0, I think, in the 5th inning. So it was looking like, okay, well, Arizona might just get over this thing by themselves. Like, as long as Colorado gets a couple of runs here, we should be good. But Arizona never scored again after that. I think they kind of just took their foot off the gas and packed it in. So really, really bad. Horrible day on the show. 0-2. JC, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. We move on to today where we have a big card today that I got to try to get through here. My camera is malfunctioning, of course. Every time the lighting changes when I switch windows, the camera's like, nope, we're not going to focus on you anymore. We have WNBA today. I mean, I don't even know if I want to do this anymore, go through all this with the WNBA, but we do have Washington at Indiana. Indiana's a big favorite here. They're actually down a little bit from 9.5 to 8.5, so some money is coming against Indiana. Caitlin Clark, still not back. Originally, it seemed like she might be back at some point this week. She isn't. Indiana's staying at home. They've lost 3 of their last 4 games, though, and they lost at home last time out against a pretty poor Dallas team. So Indiana not really playing the greatest basketball right now. Debatably, they would want to bounce back from that, but Washington might have a little extra motivation here because I think Washington's trying to come back, trying to actually make the playoffs. Hang on, I think my audio is a little bit too loud here. Let me move that down a little bit. Hopefully that's a little bit better there. But anyway, yeah, Washington, they're trying to make the playoffs. They might have a little bit of extra motivation here coming into this game. Washington, I don't even know what they're doing right now, man. Haven't been paying enough attention. They're starting a road trip after losing a bunch of games in a row, so they might actually be in a decent spot to bounce back, although they did just beat Dallas, so some of the public might look at that and think, oh, well, if Washington can beat Dallas and Dallas just beat Indiana, then of course Washington's going to cover this number, right? But the public's not always wrong. Maybe they have this one right because Washington, the last time out, it was a bad spot for them in a return home spot, which tends to be a distracted spot. So now they're going back out on the road. They might play a little bit better. I would probably generally agree with the line, move on that one, slight lean towards Washington plus the points. Golden State at Chicago. Chicago will still be without Angel Reese, I believe. They're just playing awful basketball. They're returning home from a quick 2-game road trip. Shorter road trip means you're away from home for less of a period of time, so it means, I think, a little bit less of a distraction spot when you come back home. Chicago did just lose at home to Golden State not that long ago, though, so maybe a little bit of a revenge spot for Chicago, but Golden State's going to have motivation, too, because they're trying to make the playoffs as well, sitting just above 500 here. So I think they're going to show up as well. They're in the middle of a road trip already with a little bit of momentum. That's a game I'm not going to have anything to do with any of these games. Golden State's up from 4-7, which might be a little bit of an over-adjustment at that point. I think there's probably no more line value on the Golden State side. They should win this game, but I think some of that is because maybe the thought was that Angel Reese was going to come back, and she isn't. So that's probably part of the reason for the line move. Probably not a whole lot of value left in Golden State there. LA at Dallas. Dallas just beat Indiana, like I said, in their 1-game road trip, and now they're returning back home. Dallas really doesn't have anything to play for, though, and LA basically is going to miss the playoffs unless they start winning right now. So I think LA does have more urgency here, but LA did just play a big game against the New York Liberty, who are one of the best teams of the WNBA, and played them pretty close and lost by 8. They are starting a road trip, though, and they do, even though normally I would think maybe it's a little bit of a hangover spot after that New York game, I think they are going to show up focused here, LA. The money line, the spread has gone up from 3 to 5.5 here. So the money does seem to be coming in on the LA side there. I don't really disagree with it. I mean, Dallas, whenever you beat Caitlin Clark's team, even though it was without Caitlin Clark, it's kind of a big deal. So that's going to be the way I look at that. I'm going to skip Seattle, Atlanta for a second because that's going to be one of my plays. Vegas at Phoenix. Too many WNBA games today, man. Not a whole lot going on. Maybe I should just give out my plays and not handicap every game, or not do it on the show, because I have to find the play. I have to handicap everything. Phoenix just lost a 3-game win streak, losing to Atlanta. Atlanta's playing pretty well right now. Phoenix, they're pretty much guaranteed to make the playoffs right now, but this is a pretty big game against Vegas. Vegas is right behind them. Vegas has pretty much played their way into the playoffs here, playing really well recently. They're on a 5-game win streak, and they did just beat the Liberty. They're going out on the road with a little bit of momentum, but they might possibly be in a little bit of a letdown spot here as well. I think both teams will show up for this one, though. It's a difficult game to handicap. Phoenix is up from 3.5 to 4.5. With juice, I wouldn't really disagree with that. I do think Phoenix probably is in the somewhat better spot there. Yeah, I mean, not by a whole bunch, though. Vegas, just because they're coming off a huge win like that. And I do have a play in the WNBA for the first time in a while. And oh boy, this one is going to be one that if people are following the WNBA, they're going to think I'm out of my mind. Seattle plus the points is where I'm going to go with this one. Seattle plus 2.5 against Atlanta. Now, this is a weird spot, man. This is a neutral site game in Vancouver. So Seattle probably has I don't know if I would want to say a semi-home advantage here, but it is obviously way closer to Seattle. I don't know if the people up in Canada are really going to give a shit about this game, but in addition to that, I think Seattle needs the game more, man. I mean, first of all, people are not going to want to play Seattle in this game now that they're below 500 and Atlanta has the best record in the East. But I think that's why we want to fade Atlanta here. I think this is a bad spot for Atlanta. They've already played 3 road games in a row. And yeah, I know we're jumping in front of a big win streak for them and a big loss streak for Seattle. So you can call me crazy. I mean, sometimes you don't want to do that, but I think it's going to end here, man. For both teams, I think they're going to end those wins, end those streaks there. Atlanta, yeah, they've won 6 games in a row. They've won 3 games in a row on the road. This one I would still basically consider to be a road game here. They're going up from Seattle to Vancouver. They are playing a second game in 3 days, so it's a little bit of a difficult spot for them. They haven't had really that tightly packed of a schedule here, but still basically a 4th straight road game, and then they have 2 more road games after this. It's a little bit of a difficult spot, and they just beat Seattle in Seattle, so it's a little bit of a zigzag spot where Seattle might bounce back a little bit and have some adjustments to make, right? Because when you lose at home to a team, and you play that team again right away, I would like this better if Atlanta was returning home, actually, which would be a really crazy spot, fading them in a return home spot. But still, I think this is a spot to fade them. I think it's a zigzag spot. Seattle, I think, will make the adjustments here. Seattle might have a little bit extra motivation, too, because they're below 500 now. So that's kind of another motivating factor where when you've been above 500 basically all year and then you fall below 500, you come out and you play better, man. Brittany Griner came off the bench again in that game. She will be playing in this game, but I don't know if Griner is now like, because Griner's old, I don't know if Griner now will be like coming off the bench. I don't know. I don't follow them enough, but there aren't really any injuries to really be concerned about here on either side of the ball, I don't think. But if you look at what happened in this last game, it was a bit of an outlier, man. If you look at it, the shooting percentages, I mean, Seattle had a really bad shooting game, 35.3% from three compared to 46.2% from Atlanta. That was really where a lot of the game came down to something like that, man. Atlanta's shooting a ridiculously high three-point percentage. I don't think that's really going to happen again. They shot pretty high from the field as well, 49.2. They absolutely dominated the boards, which I'm not saying that Atlanta's not going to win the rebound battle again. They very well might, but I don't know that it'll be this lopsided. And I honestly don't know how Atlanta lost the turnover battle 7-16 or 16-7, whatever. It still won the game by this much, but I think by the end of the game, it was just out of hand. And I don't think it's going to get out of hand this time. I think it's going to be a much more competitive matchup. I think Seattle will come focus here. Seattle's lost 6 games in a row, man, but most of these games are a pretty difficult competition, I know, including Atlanta, but LA is not that bad of a team. Vegas has been playing really well. Minnesota's the best team in the league. Indiana was playing pretty well even without Caitlin Clark. So these losses that Seattle had were not like to the dregs of the league either. And I think Seattle has extra motivation. Again, I think I said it at the beginning of the handicap. They're trying to make the playoffs, man. So I expect Seattle to come out motivated here. I know the line's moved up from 2 to 2.5. It might even reach 3. I'm going to recommend a play on the Seattle Storm in this game, man. Plus the points and put a little bit on the money line. I think they might get that game outright, man. So that's the play there. Oh, and I forgot, this is the rundown, but let's jump into MLB here. We have a full baseball slate here, which I'm going to try to get through. Takes forever to get through these, man. Maybe I should become less autistic and less of a completionist and not handicap every single game, but we will see. Curtis, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. 49ers and Raiders, is that tomorrow? I haven't really handicapped that game yet, but the Raiders already are playing their starters in preseason, and the 49ers, I'm guessing, are probably not going to be doing that. So, I don't know. I'll have to look. I might talk about it tomorrow, though, if that's a game that's tomorrow. But probably the Raiders, if they're going to be playing their starting quarterback and whatever, and the 49ers aren't. All right, we got MLB. We do have an afternoon game here. Pittsburgh at Chicago, one of these Wrigley Field afternoon games here. The Cubs actually played yesterday, and Pittsburgh did not, so that's something to keep in mind here. The Cubs kind of in a bad spot here. They're actually returning home from a road trip, and they played yesterday. Fairly big series against Toronto. Now they're returning home to face the bottom team in their division, Pittsburgh. Although the Cubs haven't been playing that well recently, man, and Milwaukee's been so hot that the Cubs have fallen completely down in the division. I think they're still going to make the playoffs, but they got to make sure they start winning, man, so they can play better. But this is a bad spot for them nonetheless. Pittsburgh had yesterday off, so Pittsburgh is the rested team. They're coming in on a 5-game loss streak, but I think maybe having that time off will actually help them. They're only traveling down from Milwaukee, so it's a much easier travel spot for Pittsburgh, and they got embarrassed in that Milwaukee series. I know it's the hottest team, the best team in baseball probably in Milwaukee, but when you get blasted like that and you lose by, like, you give up double-digit run totals in every game in the series, you're going to want to bounce back from that. The Cubs, by the way, as far as their bullpen is concerned, they didn't use a lot of their bullpen, so that should help the Cubs a little bit. They only use Pomeranz, so all their better relievers are pretty much still available here, so at least there is that. So the Cubs do have the better bullpen here. They do have the better offense. And some of my hesitation on Pittsburgh is that I don't want to deal with Pittsburgh basically going with a bullpen game here. They got Braxton Ashcraft listed as their starter. 3.19 ERA is good. 1.36 whip. Not really very good. He's been better on the road, 2.41 ERA, but I don't know how much stock we can put into any of this because he was coming out of the bullpen most of the season, and then I believe he made one start in his last outing, and he did okay against Cincinnati. Got through 3 1/3 innings, gave up 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, so he was actually pretty good in that game, but I don't know how long he's going to last in this game. In Cincinnati, they're a decent offense. The Cubs are a better offense. Again, I think it's a really, really questionable what you're going to get out of Ashcraft. And with Pittsburgh not having played yesterday, they're probably not going to hesitate to bring in some of their relievers pretty early on in this game. The Cubs are actually 0 for 6 with 2 strikeouts off of Ashcraft in their careers, but it's a very small sample size. So I don't know if there's a whole lot to take away from that. I don't know if you can really trust him, man, even though I know he pitched pitched fairly well in his last game, which Pittsburgh, by the way, still lost that game because they can't score. Colin Ray is pitching for the Cubs. I mean, he's been a starter for them all season. 4.09 ERA, 1.29 whip isn't that great. A little bit worse at home, 4.3 ERA at home. He was good in his last start. He gave up 1 earned run at St. Louis. I said that Chicago was a lean for me in that game. Does have a 10-3 strikeout walk ratio this month. Only allowed 3 earned runs in 10 2/3. 2.53 ERA. So he's pitching all right now. But he didn't even make it 5 innings 2 starts ago against Baltimore. So you might have to question Ray a little bit. I mean, I'm not really a fan of him in general, but is he better than Ashcraft plus a Pittsburgh bullpen game? Maybe, but his numbers against Pittsburgh are actually surprisingly bad, even though Pittsburgh's offense is terrible. So really, there's a huge disparity in the offense here. 95 at bats, 15-8 strikeout walk ratio, a 295 average and 855 OPS. So Ray doesn't really do well against Pittsburgh. So there are some indicators that tell you that maybe the Cubs, I mean, they could potentially have a bad game in this one. Cubs are up for -180 to -195 though on the money line. 78% of tickets, 92% of the cash coming in on them, and money actually coming in on the under, flipping the total from 9 juice to the over to juice to the under. 50% of the tickets evenly split on the total, but 83% of the cash on the under. I don't really see the under, man, with Ray having bad numbers against Pittsburgh. Ashcraft probably not lasting too long in this game. I don't see it. I mean, situationally, it looks like a spot where you might want to fade the Cubs. Maybe worth a play on the Pittsburgh run line, but I'm not going to actually recommend that as a play, man. And this game is just crazy. I mean, I'm not going to have money on that game. Yeah, there's good money in betting baseball because it's less of a publicly bet sport, so the odds makers don't pay as much attention to it as they pay to like NFL and stuff. Although I actually do the best in NBA, but historically over 18 whatever years now, baseball has been my second best sport, but it hasn't been that good the last couple of years. Hopefully we get back on track here though. But yes, I would say there is. It's a sport that throws people off because it's a money line sport, so they tend to not really know what to do with it. So baseball, there are like different tricks that you can have. You can play run lines, you can play first 5 inning plays to really focus on like starting pitching matchups. Whereas in other sports, I almost never do like first half plays or anything like that. That's just not my thing. Milwaukee at Cincinnati, the first of the evening slate up here. Cincinnati, they're on a little bit of a nice run right now, winning 4 of their last 5. They're trying to make the playoffs here. They're staying at home, so with momentum. Hunter Green, nice start in his first game back from the injured list, I believe. I don't know if they'll be in a letdown spot coming up beating Philadelphia. I mean, that's pretty big, beating Philadelphia twice their last 2 games that they played and holding them to 1 run combined. But you know they're going to still be focused with Milwaukee coming in. I mean, Milwaukee's been so good recently. Cincinnati probably will still show up in this game. Neither of these teams played yesterday, by the way, so we have some bullpen rest here. Milwaukee obviously has a ton of momentum. They've won, 12, 13 games in a row, whatever that is, coming off a sweep of Pittsburgh. At some point, they got to be feeling a little bit high on themselves. I don't know, man. They're having to travel down to Cincinnati now, but it's with momentum, starting a road trip. Usually you are focused when you start a road trip. Milwaukee does have the better offense. Their offense is good on the road. Milwaukee has the better bullpen as well, but starting pitching, we don't even know who Milwaukee's starter is going to be in this game, man. So big time question mark here. And Cincinnati has Nick Martinez starting. They've used Nick Martinez in some weird ways this year, man. Cincinnati's been doing some weird stuff. Generally, he's been pretty good. 4.49 ERA is not that good, but 1.19 whip is pretty solid. He's been pretty much the same home and away. It doesn't really matter, even though this is a pitcher-friendly park at home. Around the All-Star game, they were giving him a little bit of a rest, and they had him make like 1 relief appearance, I think, or maybe a couple relief appearances. Had some short appearances. Coming out of the All-Star break, he's been fairly good, except he had 1 really bad start where he got rocked by Miami, which really, when you look back at it, it makes absolutely no sense because since then, he's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in every start. Cincinnati's won all 6 of those starts for him, and they've actually won 9 of his last 10.
This month, he has only a 4-2 strikeout walk ratio, which isn't that great, but he's only allowed 3 earned runs. He went 7 innings against Pittsburgh last time out, giving him 1 earned run. I mean, Pittsburgh's a terrible, terrible offense, though. Didn't do well against the Cubs the game before that, but he got pulled early in the game for some reason. Only went 2 1/3. I don't really know. Actually, I think he might have come in relief in that game. Actually, I think that might have been the game when Nick Lodolo started and got a blister. So Martinez actually came in relief in that game too. So Martinez, he's had a weird season, man. He's been up and down, but when he's been starting over the past month or so, he's been pretty effective, more or less. So I think he's fairly good, and he actually has good numbers against the Brewers. Even though they're a good offense, it's 62 at bats. He's got a 14-3 strikeout walk ratio against them, a 177 batting average, 522 OPS. So Martinez has been pretty good against the Brewers. So we're looking at the Brewers being about a minus 135 favorite here on the road, even though we don't even know who their starter is going to be. And they might be going with a bullpen game. We know that their starters tend to be pretty good, though. If they're going to throw Logan Henderson in there, he's pretty good. So I would say, I can't really give out a play on this right now, but I would say if Milwaukee is not going to go with one of their usual starters, if it's not Misiorowski, who I think is hurt right now, or Henderson, or Tobias Myers, or who else do they even have? I don't know. Basically, those are the 3 guys that I can think of right now that might get the call in this game. If it's not one of those guys, because I think those guys are all good, if it's somebody else, I might say that you could take a shot with Cincinnati first 5 innings on the money line here and go with Nick Martinez having a good matchup history against Milwaukee and grab them as the underdog price there. That's probably the lean that I would have in that game. Yeah, baseball, it's tricky. I mean, I just jump right into these games and just kind of talk about them as if people already know, but sometimes they don't. So I don't know if I have to do a money line betting 101. I do have a betting 101 video, the first video I ever did on this channel, where I did kind of talk about how the money lines work. So you can go back and watch that. But maybe you pick up enough information just by watching me talk about baseball every day to kind of figure it out. Zach, what's up, man? Yeah, the Royals. The Royals, I mean, we'll talk about them in a little bit. They at least have their best starter on the mound today. Philadelphia at Washington, unfortunately, lost the game yesterday with Philadelphia. They were winning the game 2-1. I was like, all right, if they just get another run home, we're going to get this. But instead, their bullpen blew the game, and somehow Philadelphia did not beat Washington's bullpen. Makes no sense. Washington still is the way worse of these 2 bullpens, even though Philadelphia's isn't even good. Washington's is the worst of the 2 bullpens. Philadelphia's is actually still more rested, even after yesterday as well. So Philadelphia definitely has the bullpen edge. They have the better offense as well. And they have the better starter as well. So Philadelphia does check all the boxes in this game at the very least. So then it kind of comes down to price. And Philadelphia is going to be a big price on them. On the road here as a favorite. Zach Wheeler pitching for the Phillies here. Really good on the season. 2.68 ERA, 0.93 whip. Basically an elite whip, under 1 for the entire season. He's been a little bit worse on the road. 3.24 ERA, still not bad. I mean, he's continuing to pretty much deal it. He had a little bit of a stretch where he wasn't as good during July. I mean, he gave up 4 runs against San Diego and the Yankees, both on the road. But again, he is on the road here too. But Yankees especially, I mean, there's no shame in giving up some runs there. He still had a good strikeout walk ratio in those 2 starts, so he's still chugging along. He's good. I don't expect Wheeler to ever really completely fall out of form or anything like that. This month, he has a 17-3 strikeout walk ratio, even though his ERA 4.09 could be better. But he's gotten tagged for some home runs this month, 3 in 1 game against Detroit, even though he also had 10 strikeouts in that game. I'm not saying that Wheeler is at all out of form right now. I don't think he is. Washington's offense isn't that great. Wheeler's been fine against them, although he's given up too much power. Again, the home runs have kind of been a concern for him here. 157 at bats. He has a really good 45-7 strikeout walk ratio against them. 236 average allowed. 763 OPS is a little bit high, though, because he's allowed 9 home runs to them, 4 of them to Josh Bell. Bell can definitely crank it out of the yard. I mean, if you want, look for player props there. Bell is good against him, 15 for 51 with a couple of doubles and 3 walks in there as well. 12 Ks as well in there. But overall, I still think Wheeler should come out and pitch well here. Up against Mackenzie Gore, who's been a roller coaster this season. 4.09 ERA, 1.33 whip for Washington. He is worse at home, 4.8 ERA at home. he was on a really, really bad stretch where he gave up 6 or more earned runs in 3 of 4 starts. Washington lost all 4 of those starts, and then he bounced back with a really nice 6-inning shutout last time out against the Giants with 10 strikeouts. Giants are a terrible offense, though. So Philadelphia is a big-time step up offensively, man. So Philadelphia may be able to get to Gore a bit more here because they're a way better offense, obviously. Gore has mediocre numbers against them in the past, 188 at-bats, 56-15 strikeout walk ratio. He's allowed 8 bombs to Philadelphia. No Philadelphia hitter really, actually just Trey Turner, I guess, is a good average against him, 9 for 22, no home runs. But none of the Philly hitters that have hit home runs against him have a really, really good average against him, really. Castellanos is 7 for 25 with a couple of home runs. 255 average overall for Philadelphia against Gore. 729 OPS is actually not that high, so Gore actually has the slightly better matchup numbers to some extent here, although still more walks too, because Gore, one of his problems is he walks too many guys, man. But it is looking like Philadelphia is a public road favorite, up to minus 180 from minus 165. 85% of tickets, only 73% of the cash on them. So it looks like the actual money is coming in and taking Washington as one of those home underdogs here. I wouldn't recommend it. I would still give the edge to Wheeler slightly in the starting pitching matchup here, just looking at what they've done recently and basically all season. But I do think maybe it's too much of a price to lay with Philadelphia here, so it's definitely not going to be a game I'm going to recommend to play on. It looks like some of the money may be coming in on the under, 66% of tickets on the over, 50% of the cash, evenly split. I wouldn't really recommend that either. I mean, I just don't really trust Gore that much right now. Philly could potentially score some runs here. Philly, by the way, taking a 3rd straight loss here. I think they've only lost 3 games in a row once this entire season, and it was way early in the season, which is another reason why I thought they would come out and play well yesterday, because they had scored 1 run over the previous 2 games and gotten just embarrassed. So I thought they were going to show up yesterday, and it still didn't happen. Texas-Toronto will be a best bet at the end of the show, as you can see in my preview here, and the market is tough to read in that one, but I'm reading my situational handicap on that one. Atlanta at Cleveland. This is kind of a weird one, man. Both of these teams played yesterday. Cleveland beat Miami, and Cleveland was losing that game in the middle of the game, and I think I said I leaned to Miami first 5 innings in that game yesterday, but Miami actually blew that lead, I think, in the bottom of the 5th, so I think they actually lost that too, and then Cleveland wound up winning the game, padding their lead late. Cleveland is staying at home. Cleveland, I mean, crazy enough, Cleveland is still in the mix to try to get into the playoffs, man, which is crazy. Whereas I forgot to mention Washington is definitely out of it, and Philadelphia is still at least playing for playoff positioning. But Philadelphia has so much of a padding right now, they might not care as much. Atlanta's definitely out of it. Cleveland playing with some urgency right now. I mean, they're actually trying to make the playoffs here, which is crazy. Staying at home again, like I said, Atlanta actually just beat the Mets, so Atlanta could be in a little bit of a letdown spot. Atlanta's playing pretty well right now, even though it looked like they might have packed it in on the season. I think they've kind of gotten past that bad mental state, and now they're just focusing on playing some baseball, but they could be in a letdown spot here. They're traveling in from New York. Beating the Mets is a pretty big deal, man. I mean, the Mets, even though the Mets have been playing really ass baseball for a while, man, the Mets have been playing really poorly, but Atlanta out of it and beating one of the better teams in their division, I think that's a big thing for them. So it could be a little bit of a letdown spot for Atlanta coming into this one. As far as the bullpen usage here, Atlanta used only 2 relievers yesterday, so their bullpen pretty clean here. Cleveland used 4 of theirs, but they only used Smith for 5 pitches, so he's probably available if they want to use him again. Cleveland has the better of the 2 bullpens. I would say Atlanta has the better offense, though. Cleveland's offense stinks. But Cleveland's bullpen a little bit more used up. So maybe Cleveland, it starts tilting a little bit towards Atlanta slightly as far as the matchup here. And I probably would give Atlanta the edge in the starting pitching matchup, but it's a little bit hard to handicap Hurston Waldrop, who's a young pitcher for the Braves, who I think this is his rookie season. Last season he made 2 starts, which weren't good. But you don't really consider anything to be a rookie season until a guy's thrown enough innings. So I don't think that's even going to happen this year as well. But Waldrop is a young guy for the Braves. I wasn't really impressed by his numbers in AAA this year, man. And his numbers last year were really bad. But maybe he's starting to find something. He's a young guy, and all of a sudden these guys, if they're actually good, they can start turning it on. He's got a 1.54 ERA, .86 whip, and has wins in both of his starts so far. He's only allowed 2 earned runs at 11 2/3 innings, 10 strikeouts, 3 walks. He is off to a good start here this season. He's pitching well. It was both starts at home against Cincinnati and Miami, though. So not the greatest offenses here, but Cleveland is a bad offense. So he's not really having to step up in class to face Cleveland's offense here. So Waldrop might continue to do well here. And Cleveland has never faced him before, I don't believe. So, yeah, so Waldrop, some of these young pitchers, man, when they're unfamiliar completely to the opposing hitters, they can have a little bit of an edge in that respect, too. So I think Waldrop does have that unfamiliarity edge here going up against Cleveland. Cleveland's got Joey Cantillo starting, who was in the bullpen for a lot of this year. He's been in the starting rotation for a while recently, and his numbers are a mixed bag. 4.11 ERA, 1.4 whip is definitely not good. He is worse at home, 5.26 ERA at home. Good start last time out against the White Sox. Gave up 1 earned run, although he had a 3-2 strikeout walk ratio, which isn't that good. He has walked multiple guys in every start going all the way back through the beginning of July, except for one start, which was also against the White Sox. So when he's not facing the White Sox, he's not really doing quite as well, man. He's faced a string of really bad offenses in his last 5 starts. White Sox twice, Royals, Baltimore, and the Twins. I mean, he's not facing elite offenses here, and he's pitching kind of mediocre, even though I think Cantillo does have decent strikeout stuff, but he walks too many guys. He's a little bit wild. I'm not really ready to say that I have a lot of faith in him right now. Atlanta's never seen him before, so Cantillo might have a little bit of an edge against Atlanta just because they haven't seen him before, but I think I lean to Atlanta in this game, man. I actually think Waldrop, looking at what he's done so far this year, I think he's the better pitcher right now, man. Even though Atlanta could be in a little bit of a letdown spot, which is why I don't quite want to do it, but the money seems to be agreeing with the Atlanta side pretty significantly. Cleveland down from -115 to -111, 64% of tickets on them, 75% of the cash coming in on the Braves. The money coming in on the Braves, since the Braves have kind of turned the corner as well. Again, I'm worried about it being a letdown spot after the Mets series, and Cleveland does have reason to be motivated here, but I think with the starting pitching matchup, it kind of makes sense to lean towards Atlanta. I think Atlanta, with their bullpen being a little bit more rested, maybe that kind of evens out the bullpens. You could do first 5 innings Atlanta as well if you just want to focus on the starting pitching matchup. Probably would get a slightly worse line on that, though. And money seems to be somewhat on the under in this game as well. 80% of the tickets on the over and 55% of the cash on the over. Probably would lean to maybe, well, I don't know, because Cleveland's bullpen is not that bad. I mean, I could see maybe slightly leaning to the under, maybe a first 5 inning under. I just don't know if we could necessarily trust either starter enough to get us to that under either, though. So we'll see what happens. Miami at Boston. Neither of these teams played yesterday. I don't believe. No, Miami did play yesterday, right? They played against Cleveland. I just said that. So Miami actually is unrested. And I should know this because I handicapped this game earlier. Both these teams are actually in kind of bad spots. Miami traveling in from Cleveland with no rest, and the Red Sox do have rest, but they're returning from a trip that took them to San Diego and Houston. So the Red Sox are returning home from a road trip and playing a pretty bad Miami team in an interleague game. So when a team returns home from a road trip, they can be a little bit distracted here, man. So it's not the greatest spot for the Red Sox, even though usually I will look to play on teams that have the rest advantage here against a team that played yesterday. That is a decent way to look in Major League Baseball. But when it's a return home spot, I think that kind of negates the whole thing. So it's a bad spot, really, for both teams here. The Red Sox do have the better offense. They do have the better bullpen. Their bullpen is the more rested of the two bullpens, although I think Miami didn't use a whole lot of their bullpen yesterday. No, they used basically Bayozo was in there for a lot of the game, and he's kind of a long relief man. So that's all they really did yesterday. And they used one other reliever for 7 pitches. Starting pitching matchup here, Sandy Alcantara pitching for Miami. I mean, he has been definitely struggling for pretty much multiple seasons now since he has not been able to bounce back from his Tommy John surgeries and whatever. 6.55 ERA, 1.45 whip, not good. He's been really bad on the road, 8.87 ERA on the road. This month he's been bad, giving up 11 earned runs in 12 innings across 2 starts. Very, very bad. After he had a couple of decent starts to end July, this month has not been good. 8.25 ERA, 9-5 strikeout walk ratio, allowing 5 or more earned runs in each start. Bad stuff. Against the Red Sox, they haven't seen a whole lot of him. They've hit him okay in 18 at-bats, 278 average, 906 OPS. The hilarious thing is, though, the one home run the Red Sox have against him was from Steven Matz, who was a relief pitcher that the Red Sox traded for at the trade deadline. I don't know how that even happened, but he has a home run against Alcantara. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand how that's even possible, but very, very strange. You almost never see a relief pitcher having a home run at all. So that's insane, but I'm not ready to say that Alcantara is going to pitch well in this game. Lucas Giolito pitching for the Red Sox, 3.77 ERA, 1.25 whip. He was pitching really, really poorly when he first started pitching this season, especially at Fenway. He was really, really bad. But then he turned a corner and started pitching really well. I think the coaches kind of found something in his delivery that wasn't the same as what it used to be. So they kind of fixed him. His ERA is still not as good at home, 4.15 ERA. So I don't really trust Giolito at home. And after he was on a decent run, he's actually been pretty bad over his last 3 of his last 5 starts have been bad. 3 of his last 5 starts, he's allowed 4 or more earned runs. They were all on the road, though, so he is actually worse on the road recently. He's made a lot of road starts recently, and those were against the Cubs, Philadelphia, San Diego, so those were all against good teams. Against San Diego, they're not really as good of an offense, though, and he walked 6 guys against San Diego, which is pretty unacceptable. So right now, he's not in very good form, man. His walk rate has gone up, but it is just that one bad start, so will he bounce back here against a pretty bad Miami offense? I don't know. I mean, Miami's not a great offense. Only Derek Hill has ever seen him before, and he's 1 for 3 with a single and a strikeout against him. So Giolito does have a little bit of an unfamiliarity edge here, but the Red Sox, you know you're going to be laying a price with them at home. I mean, they're obviously the better team. I probably give them the starting pitching edge in this game too, so they do have the edge across the board, but it's a bad spot for them. The money is actually fading the Red Sox. They're down from minus 165 to minus 155. 87% of tickets, 79% of the cash, so 87% of tickets, 79% of the cash. So the cash percentage is fading a public Red Sox team here. Miami is still unrested, though, so I don't really want to deal with Miami either in this game. It's why I'm not giving out a play on this game. I don't really even have a lean on this game necessarily, though, again, the money is saying to take Miami as the underdog. I'm still not quite sure that I really necessarily love that, though, and the Red Sox are still playing to make the playoffs here, man. They want to make sure that they make the playoffs at this point. So Miami is pretty much out of it. So the Red Sox do have a little bit of a motivational edge here in some aspects of this game. Seattle at the Mets. I believe both these teams played yesterday, but they're changing series. The Mets are staying at home after losing to Atlanta, which is fairly embarrassing. The Mets have been playing awful baseball recently, man. The Mets have lost so many recent games. They've only won 1 game going all the way back to whenever the hell they were playing San Francisco last. And they lost 4 games prior to that, too. So they've lost like 13 of their last 15 games or something like that. The Mets are playing horrendous baseball right now. And they did play yesterday. Seattle also did. Seattle played Baltimore and they lost. So Seattle, a change of venue might help Seattle here because they probably weren't paying that much attention to Baltimore. Baltimore took the last 2 games. And that was kind of a hangover spot for Seattle because they had lost a long win streak that they had. Seattle had won, 8, 9 games in a row, something like that, and then they lost a game to Baltimore. When that happens and you lose that win streak, it can hang you over a little bit. So I think that hangover spot kind of took effect yesterday, and now I think they might bounce back a little bit. Seattle, they do have the better I'll give them the bullpen edge in this matchup against the Mets. The Mets bullpen has been struggling a bit, as you can see here. They've dropped down a little bit. It's close, though. And I'll give the Mets a slight offensive edge over Seattle in this game, which is, you see Seattle 13th here. Mets are 11th. And a bullpen ERA on the Mariners are 8th in baseball, and Mets are 11th. So really, really slight edges there for each team to kind of balance each other out there. Starting pitching matchup, kind of interesting here. Oh, we have to look at the bullpen rest scenario as well, though, I guess. Getting way too autistic here, man. Seattle used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. I'm going to stop handicapping every baseball game once I have to do football as well, probably. So may have to tread a little bit more lightly. The Mets used less of their bullpen. The Mets actually have the more rested bullpen here, which might kind of even out the bullpen scenario a bit. Luis Castillo is pitching for Seattle, 3.19 ERA, 1.19 whip. He has good numbers on the season. He is worse on the road, 4.31 ERA. Pretty much all Seattle pitchers are worse on the road. So Seattle, you can definitely fade them on the road more easily than you can at home. Castillo hasn't allowed more than 3 earned runs in any start going all the way back into June. So he is pitching pretty well recently. He has a 9-1 strikeout walk ratio in 2 starts this month, even though he failed to go 5 innings against Texas. Was just very inefficient pitch-wise there. Went 7 innings long, 2 earned runs, both on solo home runs against Tampa last time out. Pretty good start for him. Now he's going up against, who the hell are we talking about? I always forget. The Mets, right? Yeah. The Mets, a little bit of a step up in class here, facing the Mets offense. Castillo, mediocre numbers against them at best. In 83 at bats, 20-13 strikeout walk ratio is not good. 265 average isn't that bad, but 834 OPS is definitely high. So Castillo, not exactly great against the Mets. He's going up against Sean Manaea for the Mets. 4.33 ERA, 1.11 whip. His ERA is skyrocketed over the last 2 starts because he hasn't pitched that much yet. He's very similar home and away so far. It doesn't really matter. But he came back from injury, and he had a very late start to the season, and all of his starts in July were pretty good. He was ramping up his pitch count. He allowed 1 earned run in every single start in July, which was fairly good, had a good strikeout rate, low walk rate. And that does continue this month, even though he's allowed 9 earned runs in 9 2/3 innings against Cleveland and Milwaukee. Cleveland, not a good offense. Milwaukee is, but he struggled in both starts. Did still have an 8-2 strikeout walk ratio, though. So I guess try to take from all that what you will, but he did give up too many hard hits. Usually Manaea's problem is walks, but if the walks haven't been a concern, he just gave up too many hits. But still, he's pretty out of form over his last 2 starts, so he's not pitching as well right now. Going up against Seattle here. Against Seattle, he actually has been pretty good in his career. In 85 at-bats, 26-9 strikeout walk ratio, 224 batting average, and 592 OPS. So Sean Manaea has actually pitched pretty well against Seattle in the past. So I think the Mets do actually have a starting pitching edge in this game, even though I thought they had a starting pitching edge with Senga on the mound too, and that didn't happen. Senga, really, really walk-prone, though. Manaea has at least been pitching somewhat better than Senga as far as his walk numbers being way lower. Seattle's a public road favorite here, or public road underdog here, man. Excuse me. So you have an anti-public home favorite in the Mets. That does tend to be the way you want to look. So I would slightly lean in the Mets here. You could go first 5 innings if you just want to focus on the starting pitching matchup. I know you're fading a very bad Mets team, which is why the public wants Seattle, because Seattle was really hot until their last 2 starts. 52 games, I should say. 52% of the tickets, only 51% of the cash on Seattle. Mets down from -120 to -117. You're getting a pretty cheap price on the Mets here as a home team, man. So you can definitely more easily fade Seattle's pitchers on the road. I think Manaea does have the matchup edge here. If you want to focus just on the starting pitching, you could do Mets first 5 inning as well. I wouldn't really disagree with that. So that's kind of the way that I look. And the totals flip from 8.5 juice to the under to juice to the over. 81% of the tickets, 91% of the cash on the over. So the money's coming in on the over in that game as well. I don't know if I could quite see that. I mean, I think both starting pitchers could potentially do okay in this game, so I don't quite see that. I would be leaning to the Mets in some way in that game. Some way or form in that game. Andrew, what's up, man? Democracy, the God That Failed. Yeah, check that out on the No Way Jose show. We're doing a live reading that's been going on for probably 2 or 3 years now, getting through Democracy, the God That Failed, Hans Hermann Hoppe's epic anarcho-capitalist treatise, basically, where it will blow your mind, in my opinion, the first time you hear his arguments, where he basically just destroys democracy by comparing it to monarchy and explaining how monarchy is actually preferable to democracy, even though it's still not good. It's a wild read, man. It's good. We're about to finish that book finally. We have probably 2 more episodes to go. We did an episode last night. I don't know if that one's released yet or if you're watching the previous one, but yeah, definitely check it out. Andrew, thanks for the support, man. Thanks for watching all our stuff. Baltimore at Houston here. Houston's coming off a couple of big series against the Yankees and the Red Sox, where they won both series. So Houston could potentially be in a little bit of a letdown spot here, man, against a bad Baltimore team coming in. Maybe Houston won't be totally focused on Baltimore here. Houston does still want to maintain their lead over Seattle in the division, though. I mean, Houston certainly does still have something to play for as far as the playoffs are concerned. Baltimore does not. Baltimore's coming in against off of playing Seattle. Baltimore played yesterday, and they're traveling. Houston did not play yesterday, so Houston has a rest edge here. So even though Houston, they're in a letdown spot, but they are at a rest disadvantage, so you got to take all that into account. Baltimore did beat Seattle twice, so Houston is probably thanking them right now, too, for helping them out in their divisional lead there. Baltimore is starting a road trip with a little bit of momentum too, though. So Baltimore might actually show up in this game as well. Houston definitely has the better bullpen. I mean, they're the more rested bullpen. And Baltimore used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. It is already the worst of the 2 bullpens. So Houston definitely has a bullpen edge. I'm probably going to give Houston the offensive edge in this game as well. Houston basically has the edge across the board. I'm going to give them the starting pitching edge too, but you're going to have to lay a huge price if you want Houston here. And them being in a little bit of a potential letdown spot, I don't think I would want to be touching Houston here. Brandon Young is pitching for Baltimore. He is still fairly young, although I think he's had kind of a late start to his MLB career due to some injuries. He does have decent stuff and has shown glimpses of being good, but his overall numbers are certainly not. 6.7 ERA, 1.74 whip. He is better on the road, though. 4.5 ERA on the road, 4.58. So that's significantly better. He's coming off a really ugly start at home against the A's, gave up 6 earned runs. That's not good. Was a little bit better in his last 2 starts against decent offenses in Toronto and the Cubs especially, allowing only 2 earned runs across 10 2/3 innings in those starts. Actually, 2 earned runs because he allowed 0 earned runs to Chicago, even though they got 2 unearned runs. He was out of that game before the 5th inning was over, so he didn't go that deep into that game. He is failing to go deep in a lot of games, which is a problem. He hasn't made it 5 innings in 4 of his last 5 starts, so he's not going deep into these starts, and Baltimore did lose every one of those starts as well. So he is struggling to some extent. Up against Houston, only Jesus Sanchez has ever seen him before, and he's 1 for 3 with a double and a strikeout. So Young is pretty unfamiliar to Houston, but he's pitching poorly enough that I don't even know if that's going to help him that much as far as him being unfamiliar to the opposing hitters. Probably won't help him that much. He is going up against Framber Valdez. Definitely has good stuff, man. Has good numbers on the season. 2.97 ERA, 1.16 whip. He's been good. He's been really good at home. 1.65 ERA at home. Struggled a bit in his last 2 starts, though. And I think he kind of got derailed after Houston had won like 12 or 13 starts in a row for him. And then they lost a start where he still did really well against Washington. Gave up 1 earned run, and they still lost the game because they only scored 1 run for him. After that, though, he got a little bit derailed, and he had a couple of bad starts against the Red Sox and the Yankees. Had more walks than strikeouts over that span. 5 walks, 4 strikeouts, gave up 9 earned runs combined in 11 2/3 innings. 4 or more earned runs in each start. But those are both on the road against the Red Sox and the Yankees. Those are 2 good offenses, so maybe you give them a little bit of a pass. I don't know exactly what happened in the Yankees game, but I know in the Red Sox game, all of the runs scored in 1 inning that just kind of unraveled because of an error that happened in the inning. They just couldn't get out of the inning. So in a way, he wasn't that bad in that start. Against the Yankees, he did walk way too many guys, though. So Valdez may have fallen out of form a little bit here, but he's so good that I think he can bounce back at like any time, really. He's been so good pretty much the entire season, and he is stepping way down in class after those 2 good offenses to face a pretty bad Baltimore offense. But Baltimore actually does a lot of damage to him in the past, and 50 at-bats. 14-2 strikeout walk ratio is good for Valdez, but 380 average allowed and 1,004 OPS. So Valdez actually has bad matchup numbers here. So this game, I wouldn't want to touch it, man. I mean, the money's coming in on the under, which is strange because if you think Valdez might struggle in this game, the under seems a little bit odd because Valdez has bad numbers against Baltimore. Young is just pretty much bad in most of his starts. 58% of tickets and 98% of the counts on the under, with the total dropping from 8 juice to the over to 8 juice to the under. You're not going to find me touching an under in that game, man. I would probably slightly lean to a first 5-inning over, expecting maybe both starting pitchers might actually not do that well in this game. Houston, I don't think you could play Houston in this game either, though. I mean, I think they're maybe in a little bit of a letdown spot, even though they do have the rest advantage. They're down from -220 to -210. 79% of tickets, only 54% of the cash on them. And after coming off 2 big series wins like that, that rest might not even help Houston because you kind of take that day off and you kind of start like basking in it. Like, yeah, we just beat the Red Sox and the Yankees, man. Hell yeah. You know, so that rest might actually not be that helpful to them in this case. So the money is coming in, fading Houston and grabbing Baltimore at a giant underdog price. Again, that's not going to be a game I'm going to have anything on. Zach, your team up here, Chicago White Sox at Kansas City. These 2 teams were off yesterday. Kansas City is not traveling. They're staying at home off of losing their last game to Washington. White Sox traveling after playing Detroit. The White Sox starting a road trip. you do tend to be focused when you start a road trip, so it's a bit of a focus spot. Maybe even for both teams, I would say it's a bit of a focus spot here. Chicago starting the road trip off a loss. Kansas City staying at home off a loss. Kansas City 1 game below 500 now is a little bit of an extra motivator, even though they probably realize they're not going to make the playoffs at this point. Kansas City has the better bullpen, and the White Sox offense is so bad that Kansas City also has the better offense. Even though Kansas City's offense is very, very weak, they still have a better offense than Chicago here. Aaron Savali is pitching for the White Sox. He's been very mediocre. 4.91 ERA, 1.34 whip. He is better on the road. 3.89 ERA on the road. And Kansas City is a pitcher-friendly park here. Savali was on a nice run where he'd allowed no earned runs in 3 straight starts against Pittsburgh, who suck, but then the Cubs, and then Anaheim. So he had 3 really good starts there for the most part. And Anaheim's at least a decent offense, and the Cubs are obviously good, but he completely unraveled in his last start, giving up 9 earned runs and 3 1/3 to Cleveland. Very, very bad start for him. On 8 hits and 2 walks, so it's kind of crazy that 9 runs scored off him in that game. It was like every base runner. I mean, he put way too many guys on base, for sure, but all of them wound up scoring, too. So the start wound up looking even worse than it actually probably was. He still has a 14-4 strikeout walk ratio this month, so it's not all bad for Savali. And I don't know if this is going to be sort of him going into like bad form right now or if he's going to immediately bounce back. It's very difficult to say here, but it is a Kansas City offense that isn't very good, which might help him bounce back a little bit. And he's been good against them in the past. In 97 at-bats, 20-7 strikeout walk ratio, 165 average allowed, 561 OPS. So Savali has been pretty good against them in the past. And he's going up against the rookie Noah Cameron for the Royals, who is having a good season. I think he's a rookie, right? Yeah. Sometimes I say rookie, even though a guy pitched last year, but because I don't even remember the pitching last year because they didn't pitch that much. But Noah Cameron's been really good this year. 2.52 ERA, 1.03 whip. He's Kansas City's best starter, man, even though he's a rookie. He's been a little bit worse at home, 2.93 ERA, which is still good. 2 starts ago was a little bit bad against Toronto. Gave up 4 earned runs, had only 1 strikeout and 1 walk. A little bit of a blip there. I mean, it was on the road against a pretty good offense, though. But overall, he's pitching pretty well. I mean, his worst starts have all been against good offenses. Toronto on the road, Cubs on the road, Dodgers at home, and Yankees at home are the starts where he's allowed. Those are the only starts where he's allowed more than 2 earned runs, I believe. So all of his other starts, he's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs, including last time out, shutting out Minnesota for 5 2/3. Did walk 2 guys, 4 strikeouts. Doesn't have a great strikeout walk ratio. He's not really a huge strikeout guy, but he's not allowing a lot of hits. He's not really allowing a lot of walks either. So he is pitching well. And the White Sox haven't actually seen him before, except Meade is 1 for 3 off him. But other than that, they haven't seen him before. So Cameron, good pitcher. Probably has a matchup edge. I think he has a matchup edge over Savali, so Kansas City does have a matchup edge across the board here, but I think he has a matchup edge against the White Sox offense. The money's coming in against Kansas City, though. They're down from -183 to -168. 84% of tickets, only 73% of the cash. Again, I think some of it is because the price tag is too high on Kansas City. It's not necessarily the professional bettors saying we think the White Sox are definitely going to win this game. It's more that we don't think Kansas City should be favored by this much. If I was going to attack this game, I think it would be the under. This total seems really, really high to me. It's down from 9, juice to the over at -120 to -112 now. 79% of tickets, 98% of the cash on the under. Looks like maybe the public coming in on the under as well. But you got rested bullpens here, even though I know the White Sox bullpen isn't that good. 2 pretty pathetic offenses and 2 pitchers that match up well against these offenses. So I think the under does make sense here. If you want to avoid the White Sox bullpen because it is bad, they're at least rested, though, but you could go first 5 innings under as well. It seems like it's continuing to go under. If you want to go under full game, you got to get it under 9, man, because it is a key number. I'm actually tempted to give that out as a play. That's close to a play for me. I would be an under in White Sox Kansas City here. I think it's a decent way to look. I'm tempted, man. Should I do it? Savali, I mean, I'm just worried about Savali's last start being so atrocious. And it wasn't against a good offense either, so I am worried about that. It was against Cleveland, right? Yeah, so I'll stay away, but I think the under makes a lot of sense in that game. Detroit at Minnesota. Man, this is going to be a long video. Minnesota, lost the first game of the series 4-3 yesterday. I think in extra innings as well. Yeah, it went 11 innings yesterday. So, yeah, Minnesota had a chance to beat Detroit, who is the top team in their division, and blew it. So that might hang Minnesota over a little bit into this game. Detroit does have the better bullpen, pretty significantly so, I would say. Minnesota used more of their bullpen yesterday, too, so Detroit definitely has a bullpen edge. Detroit has the offensive edge as well, even though they're definitely better at home than on the road. Minnesota, I think, is better at home than on the road as well, so Minnesota at least does have a home advantage here. And starting pitching, I mean, I guess you could kind of debate maybe that Minnesota has the starting pitching edge. I'm going to still say they don't. But Detroit has Charlie Morton pitching. His numbers on the season aren't good. 5.48 ERA, 1.53 whip. I mean, he's an old guy now. But his season has been basically a tale of two, not a tale of two cities, a tale of one shitty and a tale of one not so shitty, as he was really, really bad early in the season. So bad that Baltimore, who had him back then, sent him to their bullpen. And then after that, it seemed like they just completely fixed him somehow. Since he came back into the starting rotation for Baltimore, he actually started pitching a lot better. And he's really only had like one or two bad starts since then. So Morton has actually been way better since then. He's a little bit worse on the road, 5.8 ERA this year on the road. As I said, he was pitching better except for one bad start at Tampa Bay, which is a very hitter-friendly park. That's just bizarre. And then he did have one other bad start, which was his most recent start, where he inexplicably at home gave up 6 earned runs to Anaheim. But he had 10 strikeouts in the game still and only 1 walk, 4 1/3 innings pitched. So he still actually pitched pretty well in that game. It seems pretty unlucky that he gave up 6 earned runs on 7 hits and 1 walk in that game. He was inefficient with his pitches, but he gave up 2 home runs. So I think those must have been multiple run homers, because to me, it looks like he got a little bit unlucky there, because his other start was really good with Detroit. He went 6 innings, allowing 1 earned run on the road against Philadelphia. And Philadelphia is really good at hitting, especially at home. So Morton, to me, it seems like he is still pitching well. He has a 16-2 strikeout walk ratio this month, that shows me his command is right on right now. So Morton, I don't know if I would fade him right now. And his numbers against Minnesota, I mean, they're kind of mediocre. In 23 at-bats, it's a small sample. 261 average, allowed 842 OPS. Almost all the damage is coming from Buxton, though. He's 3 for 6 with a home run and a triple off him and a couple of walks. So I don't know if there's a whole lot to take away from a small sample size like that. I could still see Morton potentially not doing well in any particular start, though. Pearson Ole is going to be pitching for the Twins. His numbers are not good. 7.15 ERA, 1.5 whip. He's a rookie. I forget what the scouting looked like on him. I mentioned it back when he made his first start, which I believe was this one against the Red Sox, and he wasn't particularly good in that start. He gave up 4 earned runs in that one. I think he made one more start against Cleveland, and then I think he came out of the bullpen in his last couple of starts. But one of those last couple of appearances, but one of those was against this Detroit team, and he got rocked in 2 2/3. He gave up 3 home runs in that outing, 4 earned runs. So Detroit hammered him in that outing. So I'm not ready to say that he's like good right now. He might be good eventually. I mean, he's a young guy that the Twins like. They think they're going to be able to develop him into like a decent starter, but I think he doesn't have that many pitches in his arsenal, if I remember correctly. I think he's mostly like fastball changeup type of guy, but don't take my word for that. And I might have to go look, something like that. But his numbers against Detroit, of course, stink, because it was basically just that one outing. 11 at-bats, 3.0 strikeout walk ratio is good, but 3 home runs that he allowed, like I said, 364 average and 1,545 OPS. So even though Ole was totally unfamiliar to Detroit, they rocked him in that game. So, I mean, to me, Detroit does have the edge across the board here, but you have to lay a huge price with them on the road here, which I would not be willing to do. Actually, it's less than you think, because it's Charlie Morton. It's down from -133 to -126. 83% of tickets, 92% of the cash on Detroit, though. So the cash kind of looks like it is coming in on the Detroit side here. I mean, if I was going to play this game, I probably would actually go with the Detroit money line in that game, because I do think they have the edge in all the aspects of the game. But again, I mean, that's not a play for me. And I really would not want to have my money on Morton, even though I've done it a couple of times this year. I don't really want to do it here. St. Louis is facing the Yankees. St. Louis is staying at home after losing to the Rockies, which is pretty embarrassing. So St. Louis might want to bounce back from that, although the Yankees not playing particularly well either right now. They're coming off a loss to Minnesota. starting a road trip with a day off. Both teams had yesterday off, so the bullpens are rested, but the Yankees might be in a little bit more of a focus spot here for that reason. Bullpen-wise, St. Louis has the better bullpen, so they do have a bullpen edge. Yankees bullpen notoriously has not been particularly good. Yankees obviously have the better offense, though, so pretty significant bullpen edge for St. Louis, but significant offensive edge for the Yankees. And then we got to look at the starting pitching here on this game, where the Yankees might still be focused and maybe have more motivation here, man, too, because the Yankees are I think they're still in third place in the AL East, so they need to make sure they make the playoffs, although I would love it if they didn't. I think it would be hilarious if they didn't, although I don't think that's going to happen. I think Toronto might actually be the worst of all three of those teams. I think Toronto might be worse than the Red Sox and the Yankees at this point. Yankees have Luis Gil pitching, who has been injured for most of the season. He definitely showed signs of pitching pretty well last year. I think he had a late start to his major league career, though, dealing with injuries and stuff. His thing has always been he has a lot of strikeouts, but he pitches inefficiently and he walks way too many guys. This year, his numbers don't look good, obviously. 7.27 ERA, 1.85 whip. Really bad on the road, 13.5 ERA, but it's only one start. He's only made 2 starts, one at home, one on the road. His road start was his first start, which wasn't, it wasn't necessarily a good sign that he walked 4 guys and gave up 5 earned runs and 3 1/3 to Miami. It was not a good offense. Yeah, that's not a good sign, but he hadn't pitched for a while now. He's been injured, so maybe he was a little bit shaky. He definitely pitched better last time out against Houston, who was a better offense than Miami. He went 5 1/3, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, 2 earned runs. So Gil is trending in the right direction, and St. Louis has never seen him before. So I think Gil does have the edge here, so I would not be shocked if he pitches pretty well in this game. I think the unfamiliarity edge will help him out here against St. Louis here, because they'll have to try to figure out what to do against him. Andre Pallante pitching for the Cardinals. I think he's the worst of these 2 starters, man. I don't really trust him. 4.95 ERA, 1.37 whip, not good. He's worse at home, 5.21 ERA at home. His last outing was really bad. He went 1 2/3, gave up 6 earned runs against the Chicago Cubs, struck out nobody, 1 walk. Yes, it's the Cubs. They're one of the top offenses in baseball, but that's still a really, really rough outing for Pallante. Really bad. His previous start, he had 3 strikeouts and 4 walks. That wasn't good either. Last month, he had a 5.16 ERA, 16-8 strikeout walk ratio. And St. Louis has lost, whatever this is, 7 of his last 8 starts. So Pallante, he's not pitching well. The team isn't pitching well when he's on the mound. Surprisingly, he has good numbers against the Yankees, although it's a small 19 at-bat sample size. 105 batting average allowed, 454 OPS, 5-2 strikeout walk ratio. So what's up, man? NDS, what's up, guys? How long have you guys been in here? I'm not paying any attention, man.
It's 35 minutes.
No fucking way. Are you serious?
Yeah, dude, we've been here for a while. You're crushing.
Keep going. You're just hanging out there on the couch? All right, sweet. Nobody even mentioned it in the chat or anything, man.
No, they're terrible people.
They're not. They're just listening. But keep going.
I like your new setup. I want to sit there on the couch.
Thank you. Come and sit with us. Look, we got a lot of angles.
Chairs,
we got to fix that angle.
We got to fix that angle. Yeah.
Let's do a podcast here.
Absolutely, dude. We what we have to do. We have to get a chair right in the center for Toad.
The 3 animals. The 3 animals. Let's go. I'll move to Florida.
3 animals.
Yeah. But as top Lobsta just in time, because I'm going to say that I lean to the Yankees in this game, by the way. As much
Toad
as I
says
don't
that he leads to the Yankees in this game.
As much as I don't want to do it, I'm not going to give out a play on it, but I do think the Yankees are the right side in this game. They're up from -125 to -131 here. 67% of the tickets and 73% of the cash on them. So it looks like they are taking the money, and the money looks like it's coming in on the under after the total moved up to 9. 79% of tickets on the over, 96% of the cash on the under. I would not want to do that. I could see Gil potentially doing a little bit rough in this game. Pallante, I definitely could see getting roughed up as well. And then the bullpens have to come into the equation. Yeah, I would not want to play an under in that game, but I think Yankees money line is probably the way to play that game. D-backs Colorado, I'll wait to the end because I'm giving out a play on that. And guess what it is? After it worked out so well for me yesterday, it's going to be a play for me in that one. Anaheim at the A's here. The A's, I think neither of these teams played yesterday, right? If I'm not mistaken. I got to get my shit in order here, man. Yeah, they were both off yesterday. So we have 2 rested bullpens. Not that it really matters with these bullpens. These bullpens are total ass. The A's bullpen especially is probably the worst in baseball. A's coming off losing to Tampa Bay. The A's suck at home in this temporary stadium that they have to deal with for 3 years, apparently, in this AAA stadium.
Uh-oh, he's breaking up.
Oh, shit. What's happening here?
Yeah, you broke up a little bit. That's all right. Keep going. We're still here.
Oh, no. I lost internet. What? Anaheim, you got to think Anaheim's going to be in a letdown spot here, man, because they just completed a ridiculous season sweep of the Dodgers. Anaheim won all 6 games against the Dodgers this year.
Did you know any of this shit, Dave?
No, I didn't know any of
series,
this. He's really
ridiculous. Good. Now they're traveling. They're only traveling up the coast. I mean, to Sacramento, but they could be in a letdown spot off of this, man. So it doesn't look great for either team to me here, but it does look like a bad spot for Anaheim. Both bullpens are ass, as I already said. The A's have the better offense of the two. Pretty good offense, actually. Anaheim's is all right. Yusei Kikuchi is pitching for Anaheim. 3.37 ERA, pretty good on the year, but 1.42 whip. Pretty bad. So he's just getting away with walking a ton of guys, man, which is something I don't like. And I'm like, fuck this guy. Basically, I want to go against this guy more often than I don't.
We're cleaning up the show.
Yeah, dude, the language.
What? Oh, I'm not allowed to swear? What? It's my show. I'll tell you what I'm doing. Kikuchi, he's the type of guy that I don't want to make a bet on, man. And on the road, he's actually worse with a 4.5 ERA, which has really been the case throughout his career. He's been worse on the road. Anaheim's won 3 of his starts in a row, but he's been a little bit bad in those starts, man. He gave up 10 hits against Texas a few starts ago. That's not good. Last outing, he gave up 4, and Texas is not a good offense. Last outing, he gave up 4 runs against Detroit, which, yeah, I mean, Detroit on the road. I mean, I'll give him a pass for that one. Detroit, pretty good offense, especially at home. But Kikuchi, I mean, he's not exactly in the greatest form right now. His walk number has gone down a little bit over the last few starts. So my concerns are kind of alleviated in that regard. But I still don't think he's going to do that well here, although he has pretty much dominated this A's offense. 44 career at-bats against them. They only have 6 hits. 11 strikeouts, 3 walks, 136 batting average allowed, 373 OPS. So I went into this game looking like I wanted to fade Anaheim. I wanted to fade Kikuchi on the road, but his matchup numbers are good against the A's, so I don't think I can quite do that. And I don't know if I'd want to put my money on Jack Perkins for the A's either. His numbers are all right this year, 4.08 ERA and 1.05 whip. He's been really bad in this home stadium, though. 7.15 ERA here. This stadium basically wrecks pitchers. So that's not a good sign for him. He was mostly coming out of the bullpen this season. He's made, I think, maybe 2 or 3 starts, but they've started to ramp up his pitch count, where his last outing, he actually made it pretty much a full start. 6 innings, gave up 3 earned runs to Baltimore, which is a decent sign. He pitched well in the game, even though Baltimore's not a good offense. 5-1 strikeout walk ratio. But what is he going to do here against Anaheim? I don't know. Anaheim's never faced him before, so he does have a little bit of that unfamiliarity edge there, and that this offense hasn't seen him before. So overall, yeah, I guess I'm still going to lean slightly to the A's in this game, probably in the first 5 innings, because I don't want to have anything to do with the bullpens here. The money is disagreeing with me. Anaheim flipped from plus 100 to minus 112, 68% of the tickets, 81% of the cash on them. I would not want to do that. Again, I think Anaheim in kind of a letdown spot here. It seems to make sense you'd take a shot with the A's first 5 innings if you actually wanted to play this game. The total is at 10 because it's a game in Sacramento. It's down a little bit, juiced to the under now. Public all over the over, 84% of tickets, but 91% of the cash on the over as well. I mean, I don't really have a huge disagreement with the over here. I mean, if the bullpen's getting into this equation, both bullpens are awful. I could see both starters potentially struggling a little bit here too, and not potentially going that deep into these games. So, into that game, I should say. So, yeah, I mean, those are my thoughts on that game, I guess. San Diego at the Dodgers, one of the bigger matchups here, because the Dodgers have got to be pretty pissed off right now, man. Dodgers have lost 4 games in a row, including getting swept by Anaheim, which I just mentioned. And all of that happening while San Diego was winning a bunch of games in a row, pretty much. And San Diego has now overtaken the Dodgers for the lead in the NL West, which is really, really crazy. Curtis, what's up, man? Curtis still hanging out here, shouting out NDS. The Sacramento A's, they're not even being called the Sacramento A's. They're just the homeless A's. So yeah, I mean, we should rid the we should rid the streets, and then we should unleash the cops on those guys. What guy? Wait, what guy in the A's has been stroking? Nick Kurtz, you mean? Nick Kurtz. I like that guy. I can't say his name too quickly, though, or you'll get nuked on the channel. Nick Kurtz is solid. I feel like I'm having to be fun. I'm having to be funnier with NDS in the house here, man. Yeah, Dodgers, though, I think the Dodgers are going to show up in this game, man. I mean, they lost first place. They're playing the team that overtook them. They're coming off an ugly, ugly freeway series against Anaheim. I mean, the travel spot is basically nothing. It's like 30 minutes up the road. Dodgers, I'm expecting them to show up in this game. San Diego, they are on a nice little run right now, though. They've won 5 games in a row, including beating my Boston Red Sox, and they've won 7 of their last 8 games. They're going to be focused, too, though, because it is the Dodgers. I mean, it's a huge series for both teams. They're traveling down from San Francisco, so not a whole lot of travel for San Diego either. San Diego has the better bullpen. Dodgers' bullpen has definitely been struggling. San Diego has pretty much an elite bullpen, so San Diego has the better bullpen. Both teams were off yesterday, so there is rest there. Dodgers have the better offense. They're actually the best hitting team, I think, in all of baseball. At least based on runs scored per game they are, and at home they're even better. So the Dodgers have the offensive edge pretty significantly, but San Diego has a significant bullpen edge. However, San Diego has not decided on a starting pitcher, it looks like here, which I think that's still the case, unless there is one listed now. Nope, still undecided. San Diego and Milwaukee both still undecided on their pitcher here. Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw will be pitching for them. He is pitching pretty effectively still, even though he's old. He's trying to bounce back from injuries.
Kershaw is kind of old, right? What is he,
he's
like pushing
37.
40?
He's 37. I mean, some guys that are his age still go out there and deal, and he's definitely lost like his velocity and stuff, because you can see his strikeout rate has gone way down, but he's still not allowing a lot of runs. 3.14 ERA, 1.26 whip is a little bit iffy. He's a little bit worse at home. 3.89 ERA at home this year. Hasn't pitched the full season either. He was dealing with some injuries, but I think he has pitched since mid-May. He's been in the rotation. This month he's been good. He's only allowed 1 run in 12 innings against Tampa on the road, which is not an easy place to play, in Steinbrenner Field, which is another hitter-friendly park. It's basically as shitty as the Sacramento Stadium, I think, that the A's have to play. And it's probably less shitty than that, because
they're working on a new stadium, right?
Tampa Bay, I don't know, Tropicana Field got wrecked, so they're playing in Steinbrenner Field, the Yankees spring training stadium, for this season at least. And then Kershaw's last start was a pretty good one against Toronto, who have a pretty good offense, only allowed 1 earned run in that one. This month he has a 7-1 strikeout walk ratio, which is pretty good as well, even though his strikeout rate is down. He's not walking a lot of guys. He's not allowing a ton of runs, so he's pretty effective. Hasn't allowed more than 4 earned runs since his first start of the season, coming back from injury. Numbers against San Diego, I mean, you got to kind of take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, because a lot of these numbers were back when he was a better pitcher than he is now. 148 career at-bats, 28-8 strikeout walk ratio, 277 batting average, 828 OPS is not that good. So San Diego actually has been able to hit Kershaw fairly well here. So this game, I mean, I'm probably going to say an over actually kind of makes sense in this game to me, with the Dodgers bullpen being bad, their offense being pretty good. You don't know who San Diego's starting pitcher is going to be. Kershaw maybe out of the game earlier than the Dodgers would like him to be in this game. Dodgers are down from -175 to -171 here on the money line. I mean, I still think it's a decent spot for the Dodgers to come out and try to bounce back from this bad series that they just had against Anaheim. If I was going to do that, it would probably be a first 5 run line, and then you just go with Kershaw to outpitch whoever the hell is going to be pitching for San Diego here, although I'm not sure that I love that, really, even though it looks like a spot where you would maybe want to do that. But the total is sitting at 9, juice to the over, so it looks like the odds makers are kind of expecting a bit of a higher scoring game there. And then we do have Tampa Bay at the Giants. Giants basically, at this point, have to have come to the realization that they're not going anywhere this year, even though they were one of the hottest teams at the beginning of the season, and they've been pretty bad for a while now. Their offense is horrendous. Even though their bullpen is good, they have the better bullpen in this matchup, but they have the worst offense. They've lost 5 games in a row. They're staying at home. Maybe at some point they'll figure out, well, we're embarrassed here, because they haven't scored more than 1 earned run in any of their last 4 games, which is pathetic. So at some point they're probably going to come out with some fire, I guess, because, I mean, at some point you got to play for pride here. But Tampa Bay probably realizes they're not going anywhere this year either. They're below 500. They're in 4th place in the AL East. It's a tough division. They're not going anywhere either. But their travel spot isn't bad here. They're just traveling across the bay, basically. Well, from Sacramento now to San Francisco, I guess. They're staying on the Pacific Coast, but they're playing a long road trip here. They're actually they're having to play 4 series in a row on the road, which is something really rare in baseball. So Tampa Bay might be starting to run out of steam on this road trip, man. Joe Boyle pitching for Tampa here. I believe neither team played yesterday. So the bullpens are rested here. Joe Boyle pitching for Tampa does have pretty good numbers this year. 3.82 ERA, 1.08 whip. He's been pretty bad on the road. 6.89 ERA on the road. Way worse on the road for whatever reason. But he hasn't made that many appearances. He's only pitched 30 2/3 innings so far this season. His problem has been
Toad,
pretty much the walks. Yes.
we gotta run in a minute. What are the odds, or what's your take on UFC 319? Dricus du Plessis versus Hamzat Chimaev, and it's a packed card, but I want to hear your
What are
opinion.
the odds on it? I don't follow UFC enough at all to even know. I don't even see the odds on it yet. I don't even see the odds on this yet.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting fight.
It's tomorrow. I don't see the odds on it yet on this site, but the odds have to be out there, right? I can look at. I mean, for me, because I know almost nothing about it except that I don't like du Plessis, but I'm sure he's the better fighter, right? I'm assuming he's the favorite.
Well, he's the champion, but he's I don't know if he's like the better fighter. David,
Wait, who's he fighting?
Hamzat,
Oh, is another takedown and grind?
kind of.
Oh,
but
wait, it's
gonna-
Chimaev? Then Chimaev might actually be favored. Let me see. I would probably go with Chimaev in that one, actually. I default to Chimaev is actually the favorite. I would actually he's actually a pretty significant favorite. Minus
That depends on the
240.
size of his forehead. If he's got one of those really small foreheads, then yeah, it's Chimaev.
I would actually go with I would go with him. He's like a Dagestani dude, right? I always go with
Yeah.
those guys instead.
Well,
They
he's
take
a
the
Chechen rebel. Actually, he's like a terrorist. Shouldn't even
whatever
be
it is.
allowed in the
Yeah,
United
well, that's
States.
why you got to go with them, man, because their
That's pretty cool.
Their training is insane, man. They basically they train to fly planes into buildings and not land. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Yeah.
But
So,
this is happening in America. He thought that we forgot.
Trump
yeah.
let him in.
He thought we forgot about 9/11.
yeah.
We never
He's
forgot.
facing a guy who has a 2-word last name. He's basically going to treat that like the Twin Towers. It's going to be a 9/11.
Ooh, I like it. I think he's right.
Chimaev is going to 9/11 him.
Bet the house on Chimaev.
Yeah, but you
Okay,
have to
all
lay
right.
you have to lay a pretty big price for it though. So I would say Chimaev is more of a wrestler, right? If I'm not mistaken, because usually
Well,
those
they
guys
all are. That's a safe bet.
Yeah, he's a wrestler, but he can strike as well.
So if he's going to win, you probably think it's not going to be a knockout, right? So you could maybe go Chimaev winning by decision because you'll get a way better price on that than just taking him to win.
I don't know, but I wouldn't go by decision. The guy gasses out fairly quickly.
Du Plessis
It's Chimaev
does?
first round or du Plessis in the later rounds. I don't think this thing goes to decision.
Really interesting. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I might have to start my MMA show. Cheney wants to do an MMA show with me. So
Oh, that's awesome. I would
maybe we
watch
should
that.
start doing that. I don't know anything
Hey.
about it, so she's gonna have to teach me.
Toad,
don't know
we're
shit.
starting a news show. We'd love for you to be our correspondent for sports. Would you consider that?
Yeah.
That would be awesome. We just have to get you a green screen. Don't worry, we'll buy you the green screen. I know you don't like to buy things.
All right. I can't buy anything right now.
That's true. That's true.
Sutter Health Park ain't bad. Well, I don't even know what stadium
He's-
is
he's
Sutter
in-
Health Park. Sounds like they're
What?
He's in there.
He's in. Oh, okay. All right, Toad. We'll see you later, man.
All right, man.
Peace out. Great show.
Thanks for dropping in, man.
Yep.
Later.
Peace.
All right. How do I leave
Duplessis
this
is
shit?
Da Pussy. All right, yeah. Sutter Health Park, man. I don't even know which stadium that is, man. But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. I do want to do like a comedy show of some kind again too, man. So I don't know. I need to have some sort of comedy outlet here because you see me, guys come into the show, I just start going, man. So we'll see. Let's get this done here. Joe Boyle is pitching for Tampa Bay here. We're back to this Tampa Bay game here. Tampa Bay has lost 4 appearances in a row that he's made. I think they were probably all starts, but he's not going deep into these starts, man. That's the A's stadium. I didn't even know what the name of it was. Oh, it is a decent stadium. AAA stadiums are fun, man. I mean, I used to go to the Paw Sox Stadium a decent amount, which is it was in a terrible area in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, outside of Providence, but the stadium was nice. It was a good, family atmosphere. They do a lot of family events there. It was just that you have to walk through all these terrible areas to park and to get there. And of course, then they moved the team to Worcester, which is also a shitty area, the Woo Sox. But I think that new stadium, I still have to get my ass out to it. I still haven't been out there. But that new stadium, it's actually further away from me than Providence is. But that new stadium is probably fairly decent, I would guess. And then I've been to the Portland Sea Dogs one a few different times, too. Back when they were the Marlins affiliate and when they've been the Red Sox affiliate, I've been up there. The Portland Sea Dogs have a pretty fun stadium. It's a nice stadium, a small, AA stadium up there. They do, like, family stuff as well. Their mascot is, like, award-winning Slugger the Sea Dog. So, I mean, it's a fun time up there. Anyway, Joe Boyle, he's not going deep into these starts, man. He's only gone 5 innings three times, this entire year. So I guess he has actually been starting. Has he been starting this entire time, though? I don't know, because I don't remember him starting back in April. I think he has started since July, though, I guess. I don't know about that appearance in April, but he's only made it to the 5-inning mark twice. Last outing was really bad at a pitcher-friendly Seattle park. 5 walks, 3 home runs allowed, 6 earned runs. I don't think you can give him a pass for something like that, man. Even though Seattle can hit decently, I mean, that's still a really bad performance. So Boyle, he's not really in good form right now. Giants haven't seen a whole lot of him. They are 2 for 3 off him with 4 walks and 1 strikeout lifetime against Boyle, though. So Boyle hasn't been particularly good against the guys that have faced him. So I'm not really expecting Boyle to do that well here. Landon Raup, I already have him up because he's coming off the DL here, the IL for the Giants here. Raup is an interesting pitcher, man. He fools hitters with, like, really crazy breaking stuff. Like, he has a really, really nasty curveball. He's got a 3.11 ERA this season, which I think is his rookie season as well, if I'm not mistaken. Last season, actually, he made 23 appearances last year, but most of them out of the bullpen, so maybe I'm wrong about that. 1.43 whip this year is not very good, though. So I got to keep that in mind. His whip is not as good, but he's been quite good at home with a 1.8 home ERA in this more pitcher-friendly Giants stadium here. Up against Tampa Bay, they're 0 for 3 off him. Only 3 of their hitters have seen him before, so Raup is definitely unfamiliar to Tampa and more unfamiliar than Boyle is. So I'm actually going to lean to San Francisco in this game, man. Tampa's, kind of a public road favorite here. 55% of tickets on them, only 54% of the cash. San Francisco down from minus 130 to minus 125 here. Money looks like it's coming in on the over, bringing the total up from 8 to 8 juice to the over. 71% of tickets, 76% of the cash in the over. Not sure I would really agree with that with 2 kind of unfamiliar pitchers here. I mean, I could see this game potentially going under. We have 2 decent bullpens, too. And as I said, I think the bullpens are both rested, too. But San Francisco does still have the better of the 2 bullpens. They just have the weaker offense. But I like pitching more than I like hitting. And I think getting a home favorite like this that the public does not want at all, I think is a decent way to look. So I would lean towards San Francisco in that game. And now we're going to go to the best bets. And then I will talk about NFL preseason very quickly before I get out of here. Best bet time, baby. Sorry I started the show late, and it's going to be a long show here. First one, even though I did already give out Seattle in the WNBA plus 2.5, so remember that. You might be able to get 3 on that. You can go back and see my analysis early in the show on the Seattle Storm. 2 baseball plays, and my first one, I think I'm fading some of the market indicators here. I'm going to go with Texas, the Texas Rangers on the money line at minus 110. I actually like this spot, man. I like this play on Texas. Actually, the market looks like it is sort of starting to agree with me now, even though Toronto flipped from plus 103 to minus 106. I actually think that Toronto was a heavier favorite a little while ago, but they have 70% of tickets, only 57% of the cash. So we are fading what almost looks like a public home underdog now, which is almost something that you never see. So I actually basically like the market indicators on this game, and we're going to go with pretty much a public, an anti-public road favorite here, which is something you rarely see in baseball, and that's what I'm going to do in this game here. Toronto played yesterday, and they played a big series against the Cubs yesterday, man. Good outing from Scherzer yesterday. Big win for Toronto. So Toronto, they're staying at home, so they're not traveling, but they played yesterday, so they are the less rested team. Texas didn't play yesterday, so Texas has rest here. And Texas will be coming in, starting a road trip off of a bad stretch where they've lost 6 of 7. So nobody's going to want Texas right now. They've lost 6 of 7. They're right at 500, which again is another big time motivator, man. When you were above 500 for a while, now you're back to 500. You're going to be pretty motivated, man. I think they're going to be motivated with a day off to start a road trip after pitching after playing really, really poorly. I think it's going to be a motivated spot for Texas here. So I like this. I think Texas is going to show up with a little bit of fire here, man. So I like how the spot sets up for Texas. Again, they were off yesterday, which is something that I look for. You got to look for the matchup, though. And yes, Toronto definitely has the better offense. We know that. They do have the better offense, but their bullpen was used yesterday. I know they only used 3 relievers, which isn't that extreme as far as the usage, but Texas has the better bullpen anyway. Texas is up here at 4th in bullpen ERA, and Toronto has slipped down to 17th. They have an above 4 bullpen ERA now, so Texas does have a significant bullpen edge. Hitting, yes, I know Toronto is the better offense. Like I said, they're up there in offense. But again, I'm going with pitching over offense here, and looking at the starting pitching, I much prefer Jacob deGrom over Chris Bassett. Man, deGrom, he's really, really good throughout his career, and he's setting some records here. I know he's not as good now because he's an old guy, but he's got a 2.86 ERA. He's got a sub-1 whip at .95, which is something really, really difficult to do. I know we're going to fade the splits here. I know deGrom is worse on the road, 3.73, which is still not that bad. And I know he's been a little bit rough his last 3 starts. He's allowed 3 or more in runs in 3 straight starts, but he still does have a 21-5 strikeout walk ratio over that span. So he is not pitching that terribly right now. And the thing that I like is that after he had a couple of rough starts, he walked 3 guys against Seattle. Yes, I know those were both starts on the road against Anaheim, giving up 5 runs against Seattle as well. I know he wasn't pitching well on the road, and he's pitching on the road here, but he bounced back pretty nicely with a start at home against a good Philly offense. 8 strikeouts, 1 walk against them, 3 earned runs. So I think he's trending back in the right direction here, man. And deGrom, he's used to pitching like this, man. He's a grinder. I mean, I know he's older, but he's a veteran. He's been one of the top pitchers in baseball throughout his career. So I like all that. And he does have decent numbers against Toronto. 28 at-bats. They don't even have that much of a track record against him. 9-3 strikeout walk ratio. 250 batting average is pretty low. 751 OPS is a little bit high, but not enough that I'm about to say, well, I don't want to grab deGrom here, because I do think he is the better of these 2 pitchers. It's Bassett and Grom at here, man. Chris Bassett, pitching for Toronto. He's pretty old as well, man. He's a guy who has not had as prolific a career as deGrom. But right now, the public seems to be ignoring that fact. Bassett is having a decent season, 4.17 ERA, but 1.32 whip is not that good. His whip is too high. He's a guy, he doesn't come out and blow guys away, man. He's just a guy that tries to fool guys by throwing a lot of different fastballs at them. He doesn't have a high fastball velocity, but he changes the way that his fastball moves a lot, which is how he keeps hitters off balance. Yes, I know he's been better at home significantly. 2.56 ERA at home. I told you I'm fading the splits here at the starting pitching. I know that, but we're going full game here. We're going with the situation. We're going with the bullpen as well. And Bassett, he's in lesser form than deGrom is right now. I mean, he's failed to go 5 innings in 2 of his last 3 starts. He's allowed 3 or more earned runs in 3 of the last 4 starts against the Yankees and Dodgers. Yeah, they're good hitting teams. Giving up 6 earned runs to Baltimore. I know it was on the road, so he's worse on the road, but that was pretty inexplicable. His one decent start over that stretch was against Kansas City. It was a really bad lineup. And Kansas City, he still walked 3 guys against them. His last start where he didn't allow that many runs against San Francisco, he shut them out for 6 1/3 innings, but he still gave up 10 runs in that start. So he was still putting some guys on base and kind of getting away with it because he didn't walk anybody. But his walks have gone up again. This month he has 5 walks compared to 7 strikeouts. So he's not really in the greatest form right now, man. And up against Texas, even though Texas's offense isn't good, they actually are good against Bassett. He has the worst of the matchup numbers. It's 65 at-bats, 308 batting average, 953 OPS. So we're going to go with Texas here, man. On the money line, Texas Rangers. And then to finish it off, as I said, I'm going right back to the well. We're going to go Arizona, Colorado over a huge total again at Coors Field. Yesterday, it fell short. I know we only got to 10 yesterday, and it was 12. Line's a little bit less today. It's 11.5. You can find 12s up there as well. 11.5, you have to pay a little bit more for it. I know it's not a significant number, really, between 11.5 and 12. It's more significant when you're on the odd numbers, but I still think this is a decent play to make here, man. Looking at the line here in this one, where are we seeing this? It's a National League game. Where are you? The money's coming in on the over. The public's on the over, too. The line's already flipped from 12 juice the under to 12 juice the over. So I don't think you can get the 11.5 anymore. So you might have to pay a little bit extra to go over 12. So my apologies for that. I mean, I found a couple 11.5s out there right before I did the show. I would still probably recommend doing it over 12 as well, because there's really not much of a difference between 11.5 and 12. 91% of tickets on the over, but 97% of the cash coming in on the over. And again, we're looking at two teams that have bad bullpens, so that's something that's part of the handicap, obviously. Neither team used a lot of their bullpen yesterday, but these are bad bullpens, so we're obviously taking that into account here. Arizona has a good offense, so we have that going for us as well. Even though they've traded some guys away, they're up here at third in OPS as far as team OPS, which is crazy. Colorado's offense, I know, is not good, but they are significantly better at home than they are on the road. Same thing I said yesterday. And look at these bullpens, man. Colorado's second worst in bullpen ERA, well over 5 bullpen ERA, really, really bad. And Arizona's is really not that much better. Where are they at? They should be down near the bottom. Yeah, there they are, 4.74. Bad stuff. Maybe it'll give me good luck to actually point out their ERAs. Brandon Pfaadt, pitching for Arizona, not having a good season. 5.03 ERA, 1.35 whip. And he's been fairly good at home and really bad on the road. 6.55 ERA on the road. That's not good. This month he has a 4.22 ERA, which doesn't look that bad, but he's given up 16 hits in 10 1/3 innings. 6-3 strikeout walk ratio. That's not good. And by the way, both of these starting pitchers are facing the team they just faced, which was something I pointed out yesterday. So the offenses are recently familiar with both starting pitchers, which is also an advantage to the hitters. Last time out, fought at home, only gave up 3 earned runs to Colorado. Okay, that looks okay, but he gave up 11 hits to them. 2 strikeouts wasn't very impressive either. So his start wasn't particularly good against Colorado, and his numbers aren't either. In 60 at-bats, 383 batting average allowed, 920 OPS, 13-2 strikeout walk ratio is all right, but those are bad numbers, man, against Colorado. So he's not good against them, and he's going up against Tanner Gordon, who started the season late, and he's been pretty atrocious. 8.37 ERA, 1.89 whip, really bad. He's been actually better at home, which I don't know how you can even make sense of that. 5.57 ERA, which is still bad. His last few starts, he's given up 6 or more in runs in all 3 starts, failing to go 5 innings in any of them. Against Cleveland, Toronto, and then, of course, Arizona, who he's facing again right now. He gave up 10 earned runs at Arizona the last time out. So, yeah, he shouldn't do that badly again, but still, he's facing a team that just wrecked him, and now they're familiar with him again. Even though he has a 7-0 strikeout walk ratio this month, I'm not buying it. And he has a 20.86 ERA across those last 2 starts this month. So I am buying that he's not good. And his numbers against Arizona, which a lot of that was that recent start, but they have 30 at-bats against him, 14 hits, 6 strikeouts, 2 walks. Isn't that bad for Gordon, but a 467 average, a 1,100 OPS. So Arizona has raked against him as well, not just in that most recent game against them. So pretty much everything lines up for an over here, man, except for Colorado's offense being a little bit weak. But we're going right back to the well, and we're doing that again. So that's going to be the baseball rundown. Those are the best bets. We'll finish it off with just NFL really quickly. We do have 2 preseason games. So I know it's preseason. I haven't given out any plays here, but we'll mention the games briefly. We have Titans-Falcons, first game up, which is at Atlanta. Titans down from 3.5 to 3 now. So it looks like the initial money drove the Titans up. I think they were like a 4-point favorite at some point. And now the line's come back down, thinking that, well, maybe that was just too much of a line move on the Titans. But the reason why the Titans are favored here, which you have to keep in mind, the Titans are going to be playing their starters. Cam Ward played in their previous game as well because he's a rookie. So they want to get him reps. I think he played 2 series, and he might play more this time out. So the Titans are playing Cam Ward in this game. He was okay in the last game, although the Titans' offense still stunk in the last game. They lost, I think, 29-7 or something to Tampa Bay. And the Falcons played in that weird shortened game where I have an issue with it. I mean, I know there was a concussion, a bad injury on the field at the beginning of the 4th quarter, but still, these guys are trying to figure out who's even going to make the roster here, man. So I think you got to finish these games. At least I know they allow these preseason games to wind up in ties now, but everything is just becoming so pussified. These games are just getting canceled just because a guy gets injured, which happens a ton in the NFL, by the way. But it seems like they're just going to cancel every game now. It's just ridiculous. That's what happened in the Falcons game. They lost to Detroit 17-10. So both of these teams coming off losses. So they will want to bounce back, although Tennessee got more embarrassed in their first outing, so they might have a little bit of extra motivation here. Falcons will not be playing either of their top 2 QBs here. Penix, even though it seems to me like they should get him some reps because he hasn't played that much yet, but Michael Penix, by the way, one of the news agencies, I saw that graphic, actually spelled his last name as Penis out there. They screwed it up. Amazing it took that long. Falcons with Penix and Kirk Cousins still on the roster. They're not playing in this game, though. So the Falcons don't have either of their 2 starters playing, but they do have Easton Stick, who actually played pretty decently for them in their first preseason game. And he's got experience because he was backing up Justin Herbert for the Chargers, and he was starting when Herbert was hurt. So Easton Stick, ridiculous name, sounds like a baseball bat company. Easton Stick actually is not a bad quarterback, though, so he'll be in this game for the Falcons quite a bit. So I'm not quite sure that I agree with the Titans being a favorite to this degree. And again, we have low totals in these games, although the totals are started getting a little bit higher because we've seen some pretty high scores in some of these preseason games. And now we're on to week 2, which tends to be a little bit less low scoring than week 1 as well. And then we do have Chiefs-Seahawks. Seahawks have flipped from +2.5 to -3 now, and you know that means the Seahawks, they're going to be playing some starters here too, and that has been confirmed. They didn't play Sam Darnold in their first preseason game, I don't think, but he is going to play in this game, at least the first couple series probably. Darnold will be out there, so the Seahawks are favored for that reason, although again, maybe that line, it seems like these line moves, they're going like too far, man. Like these line moves just are going further than they should, even though it seems like the public doesn't really tend to agree with the line moves, and the professional money seems to be on those line moves, and that's why the lines are moving like that. But it seems like once the line gets to its extreme on the other side, there's value coming in against them. So I've recommended going over those team totals, like the Titans, especially because they only scored 7 runs, still in baseball mode, 7 points in the previous preseason game. Given that Cam Ward's going to be out there for a bit, I think Titans over their team total might make sense, or maybe even over in the first half. And I'd probably say the same thing about the Seahawks. And the Chiefs, they're not playing Mahomes in this game. I mean, he doesn't need it. Chiefs are resting guys. That's why the Seahawks are the favorite there. So that's what we have going on in that. And then you have 49ers Raiders, which I'll probably mention that game tomorrow, but I think that's the same thing with the Raiders. Raiders already played their starters in their first game against the Seahawks. They played Geno Smith, a game that I think ended in a tie. So I think the Raiders are continuing to just play their starters here, and the 49ers likely are not. So that's why the Raiders are favored in that game tomorrow. So just shout out to, who was it who asked about that game? Curtis, maybe? Yeah, so a little bit of a precursor there. Curtis, you seem like you're a Bay Area guy, man, talking about Sacramento stadiums and such. So a little bit of a preview there. Once again, my plays today are Seattle Storm and WNBA plus the 2.5 or 3. Texas Rangers moneyline full game. Arizona and Colorado over the total in that Coors Field baseball game. We're going right back to the well with that one again. And that's going to do it. Niners backups. I don't even know who their backups are, to be honest. But they're probably going to rest Brock Purdy because he has enough experience. He doesn't really need the reps either. So I'm probably they're resting McCaffrey as well, I would guess, because he's so injury prone. He doesn't really need to be out there either. That's going to do it for me for now. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. Put out short betting content there, which I'll get those out at some point today. My games are all night games today, I think. So we'll see when I get those out. And then we'll do, we have Bettor Off Dead, of course. Like, subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. Interact as you've been doing. Thanks, guys, for that. I'm on the audio platforms as well. Spotify, Apple are the big ones, obviously. You can go give me a rating over there and help boost those as well. Covered in Uke is my ukulele project, where I did put out that Lolita Diaries album that I wrote the entire album for her, my first ukulele original project. The whole album that I put out on Twitter is out there on YouTube now as well, so go check that out as well. Once my voice comes back, I'll be doing more YouTube stuff. I might start doing live uke streams as well. So Covered in Uke is out there, and then patreon.com/learntotode if you want to get some extra uke content or just support me. I mean, I appreciate all that. Thank you, sir, Curtis. Thank you, man. Have a good day to you as well. NHH to you as well. So let's not get the channel nuked, though. It stands for nuking No, I don't know. What is it? What is NH? What do we want NHH to stand for? Something with helping hands or hamburger help. Nuke the hamburger helper. Yeah, we're gonna microwave the hamburger helper. There we go. How about that? That's gonna do it for me today, man. Have a happy Friday. Let's kick off the weekend. Well, I think it's Friday, right? I don't even know anymore. And thanks to our top Lobsta and David or Raven for coming into the show here, the Nephilim Death Squad guys. Go check out their show, Nephilim Death Squad. You'll find it. It's easy to find. You'll find those guys out there. That's going to do it. Maybe I'll add them to the description here too. Peace out, guys.